Jack is a street performer, with his only fan being his best friend and manager, Ellie. He dreams of making it big, but is stuck in a dead-end job where his boss usually criticizes him. One day, Ellie tells him she has booked him for a big festival. He is very excited, but in reality, he is booked into a tent where no one is interested in his performance. His other friend, Rocky, who is a bit strange at times, also helps him during gigs. Jack tells Ellie that this is it, because he is giving up on his dream of making it with his music. But she doesn't want him to give up. She is also his driver, as he doesn't have his driver's license. That night, he rides his bicycle with his guitar on his back. There is a blackout across Earth. He and a bus driver don't see each other. He is then hit by the bus. Ellie visits him in the hospital and takes care of him. He had broken his front teeth. They later leave the hospital and he keeps using the Beatles as references, which Ellie doesn't understand. They visit their friends. It's his birthday and Ellie got his guitar fixed for him. He sings the Beatles song, Yesterday, to which everyone gets very emotional. Ellie wants to know when he wrote that, but he is confused, because everyone knows Paul McCartney wrote it. He realizes they don't know who the Beatles are. He does a Google search and there is no result of the band The Beatles. He Googles other famous bands that have also never existed. He then has the idea to try and remember all the lyrics to the Beatles songs. Finally, he gets his teeth fixed. He keeps playing the Beatles songs at various gigs, but no one except Ellie loves his performances. Then someone named Gavin, from a recording studio, gives Ellie his card, because he is interested in recording Jack's music. Jack starts recording his music and hands out CDs to customers at the store he works at. He is then interviewed on TV, where he sings another new song, and Ellie slowly starts developing a crush on him. Jack wants to tell Ellie the truth, but then his phone rings and it's Ed Sheeran. Ed shows up at Jack's house. Jack is in shock and starstruck as Ed tells him that he wants him to open for him at his next show. Jack shares the good news with Ellie and wants her to come with, but she can't, because she has teacher duties. Jack opens for Ed Sheeran in Moscow and the people love him. After the show, Ed Sheeran is very impressed with Jack and his songs. He wants there to be a small competition, where he and Jack will have 10 minutes to write a new song. The one with the best song wins. As they perform their songs, someone random who also remembers the Beatles, Googles their songs and sees that Jack is the one singing them. Ed is very impressed with Jack's song and feels a little defeated too. A record company manager from LA, named Deborah, approaches Jack. She wants him to come to LA and write new songs. Ellie holds a going-away party for Jack. She will miss being his designated driver. She drinks a little too much, revealing her true feelings for him. As he is going away, she feels it's okay to say how she really feels. She wants to know how she has landed in the manager and friend zone category, instead of the girlfriend, love category. He is surprised and it's big news for him. But his guests are waiting from him and they can't continue the conversation. This leaves them both a bit disappointed. Sometime later, Jack and Rocky are in LA, and are very excited. Jack stays in a cool house. They start recording and Deborah molds him into what she wants him to be. He gains fame, but hits a creative block and struggles to write new music, which is actually other Beatles songs he cannot remember. He feels that he needs to go to Liverpool as soon as possible, as that's where they are from and where he will get his inspiration. Jack and Rocky visit all the places that the Beatles have sung about, but most of these places have been torn down or demolished. Another person, this time a mysterious woman, observes Jack and Rocky, as Jack sings to himself. Slowly, Jack starts remembering the lyrics to more songs. He is interrupted when he receives a call to his hotel room. Ellie has come to visit him. They catch up over dinner. Ellie came to visit because she really missed him. They go to Jack's hotel room, where they share a kiss. She feels it's wrong to go any further. She wants a full relationship, and they can't have that if Jack is going back to America and traveling so often. He is disappointed. He has a dream of when he sang the Oasis song Wonderwall and Ellie admired him from backstage. His alarm wakes him up very suddenly and he rushes because he needs to find Ellie. He has just missed her at reception. He rushes to the train station, with the train just leaving. He calls Ellie in a panic, but she is sitting somewhere behind him. They sit in the cafe and have a serious conversation, where Ellie admits that she had been waiting half her life for Jack to wake up and love her. Now things are complicated, because she is just a teacher and he is the world's greatest singer, songwriter. They aren't a match at all. Deborah reminds Jack that he needs to get on the plane. Ellie wants Jack to be happy and make good music. Jack returns to LA, where he appears on the Late Night Show with James Corden. James reveals that two men are claiming that Jack stole their songs. It was all just a nightmare. Jack records Hey Jude, which Ed Sheeran wants to change to Hey Dude. Ellie calls Jack, telling him she had booked him a gig at the Pier Hotel that was closed but is reopening. He is very happy. Then she shares the news that she has been dating Gavin and he seems disappointed. He isn't her first choice, but each day, he puts her first. Jack needs to go because Deborah is calling him. He finally explodes, being angry that they never give him the space and time to think for himself. Jack is set to perform at the hotel and there is a large crowd waiting for him. His parents are very proud of him. Deborah finally meets Ellie. Ellie doesn't know what's going on with Jack, because everything changed after he was in the accident. He feels sad seeing Ellie and Gavin together. He has a memory of him and Ellie at the Pier Hotel. He was going to perform there, but they closed 3 weeks earlier. As he and Ellie were riding home, he thought that maybe he should go back to teaching, because nothing is working out for him. But Ellie said he shouldn't do that, because then he won't put any imagination into his music. At the press conference, Jack is questioned about how he writes so many great songs in such a short amount of time. Then the woman and man that have been stalking him ask him about why he didn't record his songs like the Beatles did, and he is shocked. Deborah stops the conference. Rocky admits to Jack that he felt like he had no life purpose. But he realized what that is now, to serve the world's greatest musician. He opens the door and a gigantic crowd is waiting for him outside. He performs and at the same time lets all his frustration out. After the show, Ellie kisses him. Rocky interrupts then, letting in the man and woman who stalked Jack. They both just wanted to thank him, because they are the only ones who remember the Beatles. Jack is the one who made their songs come alive. He is very happy to have met someone else who remember the Beatles. The woman says that without the Beatles songs, the world wouldn't be right. But Jack feels guilty having gained all this fame and money for something that isn't his. But she feels he is getting their music out there and hands him a piece of paper with an address on it. Jack takes a taxi to an almost remote location, which was the address the woman gave him. This is where he meets John Lennon and he is in shock. In reality, the real John Lennon was shot and killed by Mark Chapman, out of rage and jealousy. He talks about his life. He did a job he really enjoyed and found a woman he loved a lot. He mentions that he fought hard for his wife. He asks about Jack's life and he says it's bad, because he lost the woman he loves. But John says it's alright, he'll get her back. He needs to tell the girl and everyone else that he loves her. Jack is happy to have not only met John, but to have received such great advice. He is also emotional as he hears that John has made it to the age of 78. All John says is that Jack is strange, as he gives him a hug. Jack asks Ed a favor, who is performing at Wembley. Deborah only sees Jack as someone she can exploit to become rich. Ed introduces Jack, who will perform a few songs. The crowd goes wild. He then interrupts his performance, to introduce someone who had always believed in him. That is Ellie, who had always been his fan, when no one else was. He wants to tell everyone the truth, which is that all the songs he had sung were actually written by 4 men named John, Paul, George and Ringo, the Beatles. He explains that he is just the middleman who wanted to get their music out. He won't take any money for this work and everyone will get the music for free. Rocky uploads the songs for free. He also admits that he was a fool and tells everyone that he loves Ellie and always has. The crowd cheers as he says his goodbye. Deborah is not happy at all. He meets with Ellie, who says this is a lot to process. Gavin feels strange, but admits that he knew he would never be as good as Jack. He only wants Ellie to be happy. The paparazzi chases them, as Deborah tries to stop Jack and Ellie from leaving. But the paparazzi pin her against the door. Jack and Ellie escape. As she drives, they have memories of them together. They go to Ellie's house and have a romantic time. He uses a Harry Potter reference to describe how amazing he is feeling. But Ellie doesn't know who he's talking about. He realized there is also no Harry Potter. But he just says that it's no one. A few years later, Jack and Ellie get married. He sings a Beatles song during the school assembly. He and Ellie also had 2 children. She will always be his biggest fan.